in the now, now fair. Life in the now, with Nicky Terrance, with Nicky Terrance now fair. Life in the now, with Nicky Terrance, with Nicky Terrance now fair. Life in the now, with Nicky Terrance.
Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. I see you guys. Welcome to the Life in the Now broadcast. I'm your host, Nicky Collins. Life in the Now broadcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Happy Thursday. Hello, guys. Hello, Adria. Hello, Samantha. Hello, hello. Y'all come on in. Tag and share. Tag and share. Tag and share. You guys, you know we are still on the election series. Come on in. Tonight is going to be a great night. We have a great guest and some great information to share with you on tonight. So y'all come on in. Hello, Wanda Murray. God bless you, my sister. Y'all come on in. Come on in. Tag and share. Share this broadcast. Share it. Share it. Let's share it in our groups. Share it out to all of your family and friends, especially here in Tallahassee, in Leon County. You don't want to miss tonight's show. Hello, Pastor James. God bless you, sir. Yes, sir. All of our candidates have been on, and I'm telling you, these shows have been amazing. They have blessed so many people's lives, and I've gotten so many testimonies from this, just learning, their candidates. So look, I'm telling you, Pastor James is on here. When y'all go to the polls, if you haven't, when you see Gregory James' name on there, look, I need y'all to go ahead and vote. Go ahead and vote. Look, tonight we have another amazing guest. Y'all, you don't want to miss it, so tag and share. Hello, Diane. God bless you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Y'all, come on in. Yes, we're excited about all of our guests so far has truly blessed us. The phone calls that I've been getting have truly blessed me because they've been inspirational. They've been informative. So when you go and vote, you are making an informed decision. That's it, an informed decision. When you vote, whoever you vote for, you just need to be informed. So we have one more show on this election series, which is going to be Monday. So y'all don't want to miss that. Monday night at 7:30. But I'm excited about tonight's guest. I don't want to prolong the time, but you guys continue to tag and share this broadcast. Tonight, we have another candidate. The candidate is running for Leon County Commission District 1. He is also the founder of Working Class Wednesday. And you guys already know when I say Working Class Wednesday, you know exactly who I'm talking about. If you don't know about Working Class Wednesday, then, I don't know where you've been. But guys, go ahead and help me welcome our very special guest, Mr. Terrance L. Barber.
Hey, how you doing? How's everyone?
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, God. I really appreciate you for joining us tonight. I remember a couple of months ago, you had me on your show. That was such a blessing. And so, I just was like, I need to get Terrance on the show on tonight. Oh, my God, because we're getting ready. Next week it's on. My God, look at Mike. Mike is on here. Hey, Mike. He says, Nicky, you're doing a great job. Thanks for this platform.
Mr. Cork.
Yes.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate it. I want to make sure that we get the word out. The Bishop of Business.
That got to be Gregory James. That has to be Gregory.
The Bishop of Business.
The Bishop of Business.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that because Terrance, that's one of the things that I know you for and you're known for in the city is that the business sector, the entrepreneurs, you're always supporting the entrepreneurs in the cities, the small businesses, the Black-owned businesses. So when we see you in the community, we know you're exposing somebody, some Black-owned business, someone who's doing something amazing. So I really wanted to have this conversation with you tonight because next week, and well, actually, early voting has already started.
Right.
Next week, that Tuesday is the day.
Tuesday it is.
It's the day.
It's already done.
It's already done. Yeah. Yes, that's the mindset. I love that. And so, tonight, as with last week, our last guest, the theme is the man, the motivation, and the mission. Gotcha. I want our viewers to get to know the man or the woman who's running in this season. We need to know that. We need to know who it is, not just hear you and hear, the promises that people made. Right. We know that, but who is this person? Who is this person? And I remember back in 2011, I moved back. I was in Atlanta for a couple of years, and I moved back to Tallahassee. And I remember I didn't know who to vote for when it was time to vote. I was just confused. I knew, the national voting, president, all of those people when it was time to vote. But when it was time to vote locally, I didn't know it. I didn't realize how important it is to vote locally, how important it is to know your candidates, to know who it is that you are putting in office. And so I was like, I will never do that again. I am going, I need to find out who I'm voting for, what do they stand for? So that's why this platform is so very important. So T, and I call you T all the time.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Well, I want to get right down to it. The man. The man. Can you tell? And I introduced you just a little bit, but can you give the viewers a little bit about Terrance and who he is, where he comes from? Just give us a synopsis of who you are.
Got you. I'm gonna give you the abbreviated version. We're not gonna go through. I guess in respect for time. So yeah, I'm Terrance L. Barber. I'm born and raised right here in Tallahassee, Florida, Leon County. My mother worked 42 years for the Leon County library system. My father was an entrepreneur. Drywall was his trade. Matriculated through public school system. Graduated from Ricketts High School. Been here my entire life. I've raised kids. I was a single parent. In my entire life, I guess you could say I matriculated through what some would so eloquently describe as the Black experience. Growing up here in this college town, not knowing whether or not college was the pathway for me, of course, with there being such a lack of activity and lack of access to certain resources, we all went through our own personal struggles. And I sit before you today, just glad that God never took his hands off me. I think that this is my destiny. Like, it took me a while to understand why God was moving my life in the direction. You mentioned Working Class Wednesday. When I started Working Class Wednesday in 2015, which was a platform to help build better Black-owned businesses. I didn't have a business. And like, when people ask me, like, so why did you? Because I don't know. It was just, I saw a need for it. So when people see me, they've seen me in the community doing the work. My family owned the indoor flea market, the Ellington Indoor Flea Market on the south side. We've owned clothing stores, car washes. I mean, I've always been around entrepreneurship, and I'm not going to talk the entire time, but what I've grown to understand is that Black businesses hire Black people. And just as we need the Black church in the Black community, we need Black businesses in Black communities. If we're talking about economic development as it pertains to communities of color, we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure within our communities to sustain them.
My God. And that is why change is needed, right?
The time to do right is always right now.
Always right now. That's powerful. That is powerful. Look, okay, you're born and raised right here in Tallahassee, family, locally grown right here in Tallahassee, that
Mhm.
makes a huge difference
Right here.
because you know the community. You know the community. And so
And I love this community.
you love the
I
community.
love this
And
community.
you saw that there was a need
Mhm.
for Black-owned businesses.
Mhm.
Wow. That's something. You did not have a business, but you
At the time, no, I was in the auto. I was working finance and the auto industry at the time. So doing good, making good money. Yeah, I left my good job to do this. So I need y'all support.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely a need for it. Though. We need
Yes.
more local representation. And I don't want to, but when I went back to TCC and sat on the board and sat and became a FSU Booster chairperson, all these opportunities that God allowed me and tables that I was able to sit at. I became the membership service director for the Big Bend Minority Chamber of Commerce and all these boards. I sit on the board at the Leon County Credit Union. Like I sit on all these boards and I'm in all these rooms. I went through Leadership Tallahassee. And as I went into these spaces with these people, I realized that I didn't recognize them. This was an entire circle, an entire community of people that were making decisions on our behalf without speaking with us. And at that point, it seemed I started feeling guilty for being in the room.
Wow.
Because the people that you all are talking about and addressing, those are my people. Those are my family and friends. But I guess growing up in this college town, it's almost like they call us indigenous people, the indigenous people of this community. It almost seems as if some sort of case study. And that's why we need people from here, from this community, of this community, to get involved. We have to get involved in this process.
Have to. My God. Look, you have so many people that are supporting
I
you.
love it. It's my brother Corey.
Awesome. Whoa. Wow. That's awesome right there. And it's amazing that you say there were challenges early on
Absolutely.
that could have really caused you
Absolutely.
to go a whole, another direction.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
look at what God has done. Look at how God turned you around, your life around.
Right.
And now you're in a position to help others who may be in that position right now. Who may be in a bad place, but you're creating an avenue for them to win. So that is awesome. So y'all listen now. This is why I wanted to have this conversation. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stay focused during times like this? Whenever you get to a place where you're elevating or you're trying to do something great for the community, sometimes, things will start coming at you. Right. How do you stay focused in times like this?
I think that God, prayer, faith, my mother, rest her soul, she taught me how to pray. And God put my fiance in my life at the opportune time when he knew that I would need an emergency contact. I actually went to the doctor this morning, had to put her down for emergency contact. Hey, baby, if you're watching.
Awesome.
But I think that once your actual lived experience, once you've really been exposed to trauma and chaos and turmoil and come out of it, like I'm one of those people that walked through the fire and came back with buckets of water to make sure that people that were still in the fire were saved. I think that, at an early age of 18 years old, my first cousin, my best friend, was killed, was murdered. I just turned 18 years old, shot 27 times right here in District 1. And that traumatic experience did. I blame myself for a lot of things. And I think that when we measure the success of us, our community, we need to take in, not making excuses for anyone, but we all preach that the atrocities that our young folks, our Black kids are going through, we have those same lived experiences that we went to. We're just adults now. And I think that there are two types of people in this world, those that give up and those that keep going.
Wow.
That's it. But when I say the Black experience, I mean it. I tell people over and over and over, like we have to focus on who we are now, where we are now, and what do we have to offer to this community. Because we as a people, we sit on the sidelines and complain. We make our posts. But I was talking with Dr. Henry Lewis last week on my radio show, who was the very first African-American commissioner elected here in Leon County, and all of the things that he did. And one thing that stood out to me, and Dr. Henry Lewis said to me, was if Black folks couldn't vote, they'll be trying to vote.
Wow.
He said, if they told us we couldn't vote, we'll be dying trying to vote. We'll be sneaking trying to vote. You know, and I think this time, right now, I saw my brother Gregory James chime in, and I think that it takes people that this community can actually relate to or know or have seen doing the work. I'm meeting people right now, and I don't want to ramble on because I can talk about this stuff, but I'm meeting people right now for the first time that are running for elected office in this community. And I'm not saying I know everyone in this community, but I'm in this community quite often. And I think that that's what happens over and over. We have people that come here to this college town seeking opportunity, and they are cultivated by the college community. We are locals when they got here. We are still locals.
Right.
And we need for us to, in order for us to make change, we have to have a seat at the table. And that's my biggest motivation for what I'm doing now. It's not about me. I understand that we are being discussed in rooms that we're not present in. And so that's where I think God put me on this path.
Thank God for that. Thank God for your testimony as well. And you know, that was powerful. If we couldn't vote, we'll be trying to vote.
Right.
Now we have the opportunity to vote.
People fought and died for this right. Right.
Right. We need to make our voice count, make our vote count. Go, you know, that's why I early voted. I'm like, look, I got to get this off of me, you know, because I was very excited because there are so many firsts, you know. Pastor Greg James, yours.
Greg James, right.
And, I think Pastor Rudy Ferguson, that made
Rudy Ferguson, right. Rudy is right.
Yeah. Pastor Clarence Jackson was on with me. He has ran before, but there's a lot of firsts. That's why I believe that God has truly put us here at this time to see this, to experience this, so that we can partake in this. If we want to continue to complain, then you'll sit down, you won't vote, or you'll still vote in the familiar way. I was talking to my husband the other day, and you know, both of us, we love you. You know, I
love y'all too. Tell Carlos I said hello.
He said he's proud of you. But you know, I was telling him, I said, we're so used to voting what's familiar to us. Okay, if a person has been there 10, 20 years, because we know their name and we haven't took the time to get to know who's coming up and the people that God is really building up to bring us into the next. You know, he's training, he's cultivating the new to bring us into the now. You know, a lot of times we don't take time to learn the people that God is raising up. And so what we'll do is we'll keep voting from familiarity because we know this name. We've heard this name forever, but it's time for change. And so we're in a place now where we have the ability to bring forth change. That's why when you see the Pastor Greg James, we see the Terrance Barber,
and you see how excited people are to now see that. And I think that in this season, Pastor Nicky, God is qualifying the call. And we've tried, the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over and expect different results.
Absolutely.
And I think that what you're doing is so profound right now in affording folks with a platform in order to educate themselves. An educated voter, an educated Black voter is a powerful voice.
Yes.
If we had more people that look just like us, engaged and educated on the people, because you know historically Black people have voted by party and by race. If they look like me, they must be for me. Or if they're a Democrat, they must be for me. And the day of that is that's outdated. That's ancient information. Right now, we should be getting, like you said, you keep bringing up Pastor J. Listen, what he's doing, people are voting that have never voted before.
Right.
Never even thought about voting before because they thought their voice didn't matter.
Right.
Right. So.
Well, I'm excited because there are some people who are first time. This will be their first time voting, and the reason why they can vote is because of people like you all and Pastor James. All of you have fought for those people to have their rights restored. You know, there are so many people who are excited because they're like, "This is my first time I ever wanted to vote." So this is definitely a time of change and new opportunities, and I am so so very, I'm so proud of you, all of you. I am. I'm so proud. Let me read this, what Mike Cork says. He says, we're not as mono,
That's
look,
a big
Mike,
word. That's a big word.
big word. Stop.
Monolithic.
We're not as
Monolithic.
monolithic
Yeah.
as we've been conditioned to believe. We need someone that has experience and exposure, experience with where we've come and exposure to what's available.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. We need to
Real.
pin that one. We really do. And let's keep that one, because that is so powerful. That is that's so prolific, because at this time we can't go off of who we think know it or who has the best education or background. We talking about somebody who has been there,
Right.
I work with kids, that's what I do. I'm a youth advocate, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I'm not coming from a place and trying to tell them something from this high place. I'm coming from being a teenage mother, getting pregnant at a very early age. My kids are grown. I should have teenagers right now. I have a 23 to 27-year-old, so that should just tell my story. Some people may say, count, that's a strike against me, but guess what? Those girls listen to me. Guess what? They want me to be their mentor. Look, I see results when I work with kids. My programs, they produce results because I've been there, done that, So
we have actual lived experiences.
So that's what it's about. We can no longer sit back and disqualify ourselves from the opportunities and the doors that God is opening for us in this season. It's time to stand up. How long are you going to pay for your past? How long are you going to pay for the mistakes of your past? God has already, when you went to him and he forgave you, you are forgiven. Walk in your freedom. And that's just where we are. So that was a good point, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up. So, T, motivation. What is your motivation behind running this time right now? What was the motivation? What inspired you to say, you know what, I'm running this time. I'm getting in the race.
Well, like my grandmother would say, I felt led. I felt led. I felt led. And I saw, like I said, I saw the atrocities. We polarized, money going to different this, different that. So I began to study, like, okay, what could that sort of money, if we're talking about, if indeed we're speaking on our community in District 1, which encompasses Frenchtown, Southside, All Lake, Lake, Bradford Road, basically all the Black communities in this community. What would that kind of infusion of economic development do in our communities? And historically, we still have yet to see any progress in District 1. And it wasn't anything personal against the incumbent. I guess it was just that, at what point do we get our opportunity to lead? I'm 41 years old. I have college-age children. Like, at what point do we pass the baton for upcoming leadership to step up? So as I went through all of these leadership programs and got all these certifications and accolades, I'm like, God, now what do I do? What do I do? When my mother passed in 2020, and as I sat and thought about, okay, so what's this next chapter of your life look like? God, I prayed, and I prayed. And this is where we are. I think that we as a people, we need to give each other the same grace that we want God to afford us. I think that what certain individuals in this election cycle are doing right now is breaking barriers. We are a people that has been tricked into disqualifying our best and brightest leadership. By the age of 23, 51% of Black males will have experienced one form of incarceration or another. That means by age 25, over half of Black men in this country have been incarcerated. And Black people have been tricked into disqualifying half of their Black men from leadership before they turn 25. Because they're using the same ruler that they measure. And matter of fact, what gets me so bad is there can be people that don't look like us that will accept every flaw. We'll accept every flaw. But we sit back and we finger point and we nitpick our own people. When these are the people that God sent to save us.
Yes.
So, I mean, when it comes to motivation, my kids, I was a single parent. I raised kids in this community. I remember not knowing about all of the resources that I know about now because I was invited into these rooms. If it had not been that I was in these rooms with these people making decisions, I still wouldn't know. It made no sense to me for me to have been here my entire life, been a single parent, raised, and not know who are y'all pitching these programs to, because I had no idea. Like, there's an actual separate community, and I tell folks this, and sometimes I get a little pushback, but I do think that if we're going to bring this community together, that right now, as it pertains to our community, classism is the biggest detriment to the Black community in Leon County. It's not racism. Racism will always be here. But anytime you see a community so divided and the people look just like me, just like you, and I think that we got the educated, we got the ones with, and I think that if we're going to, leadership doesn't divide. All of the divisiveness I'm seeing right now, even this political spectrum, it's like, if you're this divisive now, so this community, I love this community.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's a good motivation to have, because there has to be some type of motivation, inspiration, behind why someone would want to, jump in and, want to lead in this season. So that's awesome. The last one we're going to talk about is your mission. What would you like to see changed when you're in office? So if you get in office, when you're in office, what would you like to see change?
I think the first time is we have to give a voice to the voiceless. For the last almost 30 years, it's been noted over and over that we have a clear voice. We have someone on the dais that's going to speak up for us. I think that my father taught me one of the most important lessons ever when he taught me that I have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And that's why I would listen more than I speak. The more I talk and interact in this community, you don't know how excited people are when I come by their house and I tell them I'm running for county commissioner. And the conversation just takes off from there, because they're like, okay, this is my problem. This is what I need. This is what I need. I'm writing it down and I actually call them with answers. And that's how this community should be. We as a people, we need to make sure that we are educating one in an informed community. But right now, there's such a disconnect, and we've become so complacent. And I think that's why I put my campaign office right here in the heart of District 1 on Lake Bradford Road. It will be here. This is where it's going to be, so that I'm accessible to people. And I think that right now, educating the community, and making sure that the money being allocated that said it's for the community makes it to the community. Because a lot of things that we are doing right now, and it falls into this, they're checking off the box for the actual community, and we don't see it. So my biggest thing is making sure that transparency on this commission and getting folks engaged and involved again. Because right now we've become so disconnected from local leadership. And I think that has to change, and the time to change that is right now.
That is so awesome. You said we've become so disconnected.
We are.
Leadership. And that is a dangerous place to be.
It is.
And that's why I'm like, all of us have to get involved. How can we get involved? What can I do? That's right. Chris White, he says, he really looks up to you.
That's my brother.
Yeah.
That's my brother. I've been knowing Chris all my life. He knows. That's a good dude. Yes, ma'am.
He is. Yes. But I'm so glad that you touched on all of these different issues. I'm happy that you're trying to bridge the gap between the community and local leadership, entrepreneurs and Black businesses. I'm grateful that you're doing that, because it's needed. I saw you on, and before we're about to wrap up. We're about to wrap this up. But before we go, I saw you on a clip. I think it was at Bethel Baptist, and I laughed until I cried. Meeting.
We have a lot of meetings.
Go ahead.
We have a lot of meetings. And in the midst of having these meetings, in between the meetings, we forgot what we were meeting about in the first place. And I think that, of course, everyone wants to practice their oratorical skills from time to time. But we shouldn't have the same person speaking about the same thing over and over and over before we take action and make something happen. If we're poor, we need to put money in the community. If we don't have homes, we need to build them. We need to make sure that we are rehabbing the existing homes. We need to make sure that if we don't have access to city water inside Capital Circle, before we expand Northeast, that people inside Capital Circle in District 1 are getting rid of septic tanks while people are expanding far north in this community getting access. Like, it makes no sense if we have such a clear voice in this community. These are the needs of the people. Like, these are the needs of the people. And like, you meeting after meeting after, we tired of meetings. We tired of meetings. Like, and I wish, and of course, I wish we could pray poverty out of our community. Sister, I do. I wish we could pray for affordable housing. I wish we could. I wish we could have a meeting and all of it goes away. I wish we could, but we can't. We can't, and that's the sad truth.
Right.
Like, and what this community needs right now, we need action, and we can't keep waiting. We can't wait another 30 years. We can't. I mean, if now's not the right time, when is? And who's to decide that? The people. That's the people's decision. That's the people's decision.
Absolutely. Terrance, you have truly blessed us on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Look, the one word that I heard as you were wrapping up is action.
Action.
And I think that's what you're doing right now. You're provoking the people to action, whether that's voting, whether that's volunteering, whether that's, just getting involved, learning your candidates and what district you're in and who you should be voting for. And, if you're ready for change, do something different,
Right.
So thank you for this word of action. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, God, this has been a great show. And I want to thank each and every one of you out there who listened, who tuned in. Mike Cork, thank you. To my husband, thank you. Samantha, Chris, Pastor James, El Michelle, all of you out there. If I'm missing your name, I'm just seeing a few of them that's popped up right there. But I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. This show has truly opened my eyes a little bit more as to who Terrance L. Barber is. So all of you who are voting, who have not voted yet, please vote. Your vote counts. Your vote counts. So again, thank you all for joining us on the Life in Now podcast. Thank you again, Terrance.
Thank you so much.
My brother.
Thank you.
Look, we'll be looking next Tuesday. We'll be listening. That's the day.
Right.
We're so grateful for this race that you have ran in this season. So God bless you. And to all of you, I will see you all next Monday right here on the Life in the Now podcast.